First item on the agenda is the minutes. Is there any amendments or corrections to the minutes? Accept the minutes as written. Do I have a second? Second. I have a second. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. All opposed signify by no. Motion carried. Next item on the agenda are accounts. No vote required on accounts. For information. Are there any questions on the accounts?
I have a question. It's more curiosity than anything else. Toward the last of the item 75. Temple Incorporated, the target supplies for the red line box. Now, is that building up some supplies, or is that just something?
If y'all remember back some time ago, we had the traffic signal control box on South Church malfunction. We tried to fix it, weren't able to, and luckily JDA loaned us a box that has been sitting there operating this long. And it's been, the lead time on getting one of these replacement boxes, what, 3 months roughly? So we went ahead and ordered a box 3.5 months ago to replace that box. And they did put it in place, about 2 weeks ago, and so we were able to return JDAs back to them. Now the original box that was at that intersection now has, the Paul Chapman that works on our lights for us, have rebuilt that box. So it should be now a extra box we could use if need be at one of the intersections. So yes, this is a sizable expense, but it was to finally get that one fixed, plus give us a replacement unit to be able to use in case we have another malfunction in the light. Luckily with that light, it was not as drastic at that location. It would have been on one of the other major intersections.
Are there any other questions on the accounts? Okay. Next item on the agenda is item C, delegations. We have 2 representatives from Project Graduation here with us. They'll come forward.
Do I have to speak in the microphone? It's okay. Okay, we're just here as part of the senior class. Our student body president and senior class president, Brennan Clayton, couldn't make it because right now he's shooting some hoops. But we're here just to talk to you about project graduation, which some of you have probably had
favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, signify by no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
for coming out.
Congratulations.
Good luck to you.
I'd like to,
Chief,
I'd like to give you $500 out there. And also,
Thank you.
being that you're short this year, I'm gonna make a donation of $100 out of my pocket.
Thank you. I'll put that in our, we got the treasurer right now.
And I imagine he's challenging us to do the same, so you'll probably see me, but. He does good shit, most of us just come here and give him money.
Yeah, very
Oh,
good.
she did a very good job.
Very good job.
Our building department matched that.
You better say, you better say.
Better say, it's like church.
Yeah.
And I didn't even have to cry.
Where do you go to church?
Just kidding. The church is not.
Good luck to y'all.
Thank you. And also, I don't know if you've had the chance to get, the lunchbox is doing our chicken salad lunch on Monday and Tuesday. And we should have some extra. So if y'all get the chance, y'all just holler at us. Just holler at somebody at the school and we can get y'all lunch plates.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is discuss, consider bid received on the downtown Henderson project. Okay. As y'all know, I think you see in front of you, we received 4 bids on the downtown project. The low bidder was C&M Building Inc. They're out of South Haven, Mississippi. Part of this is, tell me if I'm right, the percentage is, the DBE percentage of this contract has to be 14%. As this was going through, we were contacted, I think I forwarded y'all the emails, we were contacted by Randy McKinnon, who's the engineer, that they were having a problem meeting their DBE. As a matter of fact, the letter we got, the email we got from TDOT stated that if they could not meet their DBE, that they would consider the bid an unresponsive bid and we would go to the next bidder. The next bidder was ET Construction here, was ET Construction. If you remember, they had won the bid the first time. Their bid came in this time about $20,000 less this time. As a matter of fact, 3 of the bids were less than the original bid that we approved and appropriated the money for. C&M Builders bid was considerably less. If you see, it's probably over $150,000 less, between about $150,000 to $175,000 less. I talked to Randy McKinnon this afternoon, and Randy said that he had been in contact with C&M Construction Builders, and they are working to get their DBE numbers they need. They want the contract. At first, when we were talking to them, we didn't know if they really wanted this contract or not. But last talking to Randy this afternoon, they do want their contract. So we should know tomorrow. We should know tomorrow if he's going to be able to get the bid. If not, we have to go to the bidder. Kind of explain that. I'm going to let Jim explain to you what the DBE is, so that I won't butcher that up too much.
Well, I may butcher it also. Because these are federal monies, each project, depending on the size, et cetera, the federal government through the state actually puts a percentage that has to be given to that contract to what they consider disadvantaged business. Normally it's minority or female-owned, et cetera. And those businesses have to be approved by TDOT. So the TDOT has an approved list of DBEs that you can choose from. On this project, 14% of the total dollars has to be done by DBE. In order for that is part of the bid specs, it's in the bid spec book. Basically a bidder is certifying he can meet that. Evidently this bidder had trouble finding, when he got to the end of this project, his bidders that he needed in order to make this project work out. That should have probably been taken care of before he turned his numbers in, but, some of these bidders sometimes scramble right to the last minute, and sometimes they're even looking at other subs, even after they get the low bid, they're still trying to lower the sub's cost in order to make more money on the project. of the day, maybe C&M is going to be able to meet that goal. If they don't, then they really, well, TDOT won't give them the project. Now, there may be other bid bond issues and other things that may have to be resolved if they don't meet their requirements of the bid. So that is where we are. We have sent a letter asking TDOT to approve C&M as the preferred bidder. And if they can meet the requirements and submit that paperwork to National, to TDOT, then they will be the ones selected. If for some reason they don't, we have no other choice but to go to the next low bidder, which is E&T. Any questions?
So basically, what we would need to do tonight would be go ahead and accept the bid from C&M under the assumption
They'll be approved.
that they'll be approved.
And if not, give the mayor authority to go ahead and get to the next low bidder.
I make a motion then that we accept the bid from C&M Builders from South Haven, assuming if they do not meet the DBE requirements, we award the bid to the second best one, which is E&T Contracting here in Henderson.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second, any discussion on the motion?
What happens if, E&T can't meet DB requirements?
Go the third one.
Technically, you go to the
Or
third,
turn, you go third.
which is $12,000.
Could you rebid if you had to?
Yes, you can always go back and read
This bid, now the third bid is lower than the original bid we had
From me too?
on them too.
But
But I honestly, E&T Construction says they have they have the numbers they need. They've got that percentage of numbers they need. So, I mean, if that happens, we can do that. The understanding I got from Randy today was C&M Builders had done the downtown project in Covington. And that was probably, I know it was before 2010, because I know it was before 2010. And the DBE numbers, according to how it says on it, it says the goal, the DBE goal is 14%. Well, they show it as a goal, and I don't know if they required them back then to do that, to get the exact 14%. Now it's required, you gotta have the 14%.
On some of these contracts in previous history, from my recollection is, as long as you prove you tried to kill a certain amount of the contracts to DBEs, that was good enough.
Now it's mandatory.
You've got the mandatory. Give that.
I think, matter of fact, the email I got was she had sent a book of, I forgot how many pages book to them that had the DBEs listed out of Region 4, which is most of them out of the Memphis area. So, and I think his fear was, he had made the statement in one of the emails that he had tried 11 DBEs, I mean, that's what he said in the email. He had tried 11 DBEs and only one had come back with a bid, and it was almost twice as much as what he had put down for the electrical on the lines and stuff. So, but you see here and there, but he's thinking from last I got today was they thought they could honestly get the numbers. So we should know tomorrow if that does happen. But honestly, there's a huge difference in the two bids.
Oh, yeah.
All right, next item on the agenda.
We didn't have.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. Any other further, the motion second, I'm sorry. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify with aye. All opposed, signify no. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, discuss, consider the approving of the police department standard operation procedures. You remember we had our work session, and I think we had knocked it down, and the only thing we really had to do was some reformatting.
We spent, Dixie in my office spent about 4 days, I think, trying to reformat, renumber, and try to get everything right. I do have one copy with me. We talked about not killing any more trees than we had to. This is 154 pages long. I do have it here if you have any specific questions, but it's in a little bit better shape formatting wise, and we're going to do it one more time before we print the final copies for all the officers. So we got to get it approved first.
seemed like there was one spot where it wasn't a wording, but we changed something limited just to the mayor, please.
There was a place where we had mayor and chief of police, and we changed it just to be chief of police.
Okay.
a second?
Second.
Have a second? We don't need to do this, we don't need to roll call those. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by aye. All opposed, signify by no. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, discuss the 25-foot easement that was retained on the rear of the lot, so next to the water tank on East Main. This is the one behind, the youth healthcare plus there, and it's also where, Dairy Queen Chill and Grill is going to be. And I'll let Jim and Brent.
I'll start out here quickly. I laid a site plan, a proposed site plan in front of each one of you. There's a yellow line on the back of that site plan. That yellow line is actually the 25-foot easement the city retained at the rear of these properties. It also goes across the adjoining property, which is the fast-paced medical building. This site plan got presented to us. It's been bouncing around in the office, and the question keeps coming up about our easement. We told them it's there, but they designed a building that is not a building, but actually the drive-through signage, and also the garbage containment area for the dumpster is all located on that 25-foot easement. And it's sort of putting Brent in sort of a predicament, trying to figure out what he's supposed to allow and not. And I think really and truly this board needs to be the one to make the decision about this easement once and for all. We dealt with it with fast pace when they were building that building. We slowed down just about everything. Correct me if I'm wrong, we've got a couple telephone poles and one underground electric service, and maybe part of one air conditioning system sitting in the 25-foot behind the fast pace building. Brent, am I correct there? But then when this one got submitted, it basically makes the easement non-usable if we allow this. So what do y'all want to do with it? Do y'all want to relinquish the easement? I think that's one option. The other option is to allow them to go ahead and build the stuff in the easement, which means probably we'll never be able to use it if we wanted to. You know, we may have an easement across it if they put all this in there. And then the third option is to tell them to get everything out of the easement. I mean, I think that's sort of your three choices. They also are wanting to locate a ground-mounted electrical transformer at the top right-hand corner of the lot, sort of next to the garbage dumpster. So that means you got high current, underground current going to the transformer and the transformer into the building. So I think it's just something that Brent needs to be alleviated from the responsibility of making this decision. It's y'all's decision to make. So just really tell us what you want done. Mark?
Well, I've got one comment I'd like to make is that the intention was to maintain an access to the east water tank. At some point, tanks have to be painted. The telephone utility that's on the tank has to be relocated someplace. I'm concerned that if we don't maintain some access and some accessibility to that tank, that we're not going to be able to perform our job properly. And I will not be able to maintain the tank properly. So that's really my only concern.
We're not gonna be able to get back there anyway after all this is dealt with, didn't put anything back here. Or Jim, are we gonna be able to get back there on the easement as it is now?
Right now, you can still get a vehicle up through there behind fast pace and over to the back of the tank. The easement was originally kept for two reasons. One is for access to the rear part of the tank, for whatever equipment we needed to get back there. And number two is because we had to kill a water line that ran right across the middle of these lots. We also maintained it in case we had to actually replace that water line. Now, once we killed the line, pressures seemed to be okay, that maybe that may not be an issue in the future. Mark may have a comment to that.
My only concern also would be that if we ever had to have access down, down towards the north vacant property in that area, and we're required to run a new water main, that easement in the back would be very convenient. Otherwise, you're going to have to come out through the front, down, turn right, head down the north.
As this is
They do have some patio or something out the front of the building, but, you know, I know exactly the layout, the details.
This is
How
about,
far can they shift forward, you know, I don't know how many parking places they would lose, I'm not
There's
sure.
something going to the right hand side of this.
Now, we do have access to the tank from Main Street directly into it. And we have about, Brent, how far do we have off the fence? 30, 40 feet to the west of the fence?
Approximately, yes.
Of course, in that same 30, 40 feet, we have like a couple of pretty good sized water mains. So, you know, any heavy equipment we carry right through there, we'll be carrying it right up on top of the water main. So, you know, it's not a perfect situation. We thought everybody understood at the beginning that what this easement was for, and we thought they would understand they didn't need to build things in. But evidently, they haven't understood. So, you know, at this point, you know, either we approve it or we don't approve it, and, you know, go forward. You know, the original buyers have already sold these properties, both of them, to another party. They are owned, Jerry, correct me if I'm wrong, were they the same ownership, or?
Two different entities. The partnership has the Dairy Queen property and then an LLC, limited liability company, has the strip center. They both have common members and partners.
How does the deed, I mean, I think, how specific, how is our deed?
Well, our
25-foot easement.
But it-
Our
that's all it
deed
said.
basically said a 25-foot easement at the north edge of the property. I think Brent's got the wording there.
It's, excuse me, subject to a 25-foot wide easement across the above described track, south of and along the entire north property line.
Now, my understanding of the easement, that's to allow you egress, ingress, and all this kind of stuff out of the beach park, is that right?
Well,
It's not defined in this case. I mean, their risk is this. You got the prior right by virtue of that easement for you to use as you see fit within whatever reasonable uses would be. So if they build improvements, and the risk they run is if you have the need to put a water line, you gotta tear your driveway up.
Now, is it their responsibility to fix it, ours if we tear it up? Or
No, I mean, I'm giving you extremes. It wouldn't be your responsibility to fix the improvements they have in your easement. It would be theirs. So, you know, the options probably, as Jim has laid out, is if you live without these, you live without it. A fourth option you didn't mention is what can you live with by way of an easement? Does a 15-foot easement accommodate what the city's anticipated needs are? What it sounds like you really need to try to be focusing on is if they have the need to make the development work, what's the minimum amount of construction they can do within your easement? What's the least they can?
Because I don't know the size of the equipment, those cranes that go in and do stuff like that, that goes up, but what size is the wheelbase, what kind of room do they need?
A perfect example would be the crane that's sitting down the library project today, is placing the steel on the new frame. You can see the height, width, and so forth, and of course the outriggers. That's the main issue.
How wide is that? How wide is that crane?
I hate to venture a guess, but it's.
15 feet?
I can get a measurement, but, oh, no, the outriggers and so forth is much wider than that. But, I'm sorry, 24 feet. Yeah.
So 25 was barely big enough then.
I am realistic to know that this city council, and probably not any future city council, is gonna tell Dairy Queen, we're gonna tear up your drive-in. So we're gonna shut down your entire drive-in for a month and put in a water line or whatever. I just don't see that happening, so, you know, I'm trying to be realistic here and understand, you know, where we are. And,
The other option is going in through the armory to come and borrow their lot and doing it from their side of the fence, I guess, is that?
you have to get permission, but, and, you know, depending on how close you need to get the tank, you may have to cut their fence,
And then fix the
and
thing.
then fix their fence, so.
Which they may or may not like.
I mean, it's not a perfect situation, you know.
But let me ask you a question,
It's not-
have we allowed some of this to happen?
Hmm?
The one problem, kind of problem I have with the gym is we kind of allow this, all of us kind of allow this to go, we kind of, over a period of time, allow them to put some stuff in the building before that, the deed really wasn't clear, it's like it should have been clear, I think. And plus, if you do remember, did we not do something up here in the last building?
Brent, what's the date on the letter we actually sent there, Renee? Who was it sent to? You got it there for us?
November 17th of 2014, we sent one to the W.U. Henderson Properties, the KSK Henderson Partnership, and Fast Pace Urgent Care.
So they knew about it, they know.
So,
They do when they do. They have stuff like that ready.
Well, we had some things on when the first building got built.
when the first building got built, they had an underground electrical service before we knew it across the
If
property.
I remember right, did this board deal with that?
I don't think this board did.
Okay.
Anybody, I don't think it's.
We never talked
We
about
discussed
it.
it, we discussed it, we sort of said,
Or was something came up here, we did something, we talked about, maybe it was on the fall of the building or something that, what we required.
we also, I think, may have relocated some of their conditioning units where they would not be encroaching upon the easement. And the last electrical service they put out there, they did go overhead with it instead of underground, where we can actually don't deal with that electrical underground service underneath. So we,
Hindsight's better than foresight. In the future, if we sell the property, then the easement, just don't sell the property.
that probably be the wisest move.
Yep.
That way you don't sell it, they ain't got it, it's ours. If you build it, we tell them to get out of it.
Has anybody approached them about that front porch on this, proposed plan, about perhaps moving it forward some?
No. We actually haven't, correct me if I'm wrong, we haven't been contacted by the builder yet. We were meeting with the electrical engineer the other day.
Well, that's where we saw the set of plans again, or the entire set of plans for the first time. And since then, the architect on the job has contacted us and supposedly gonna get us a complete set of plans sent in. But all the site plan has a depiction of the easement on it, and then the site plan shows, like I said, that yellow highlighted line is the depiction of where the easement goes across.
What, have they said anything about, we know where in your easement stays, or,
This is the
but they
thing.
do know about it?
We,
I don't know.
the site plan was actually done by TLM. And before they drew the site plan, we contacted by phone, talked to, what's his name?
Mickey,
Huh? No, TLM.
Randy McKinley?
No, it wasn't Randy. It was one of his people that worked with Randy. And we even told him, there is a 25-foot easement on the back of that property, that time when you designed it. And then they sent us this stamped by TLM. They're the ones that designed it. I mean, it's just like, you know, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't really understand how, I mean, we contacted everybody we know contact, told everybody we know. I mean, the board told WU that they approved to sell the property. We're keeping this easement for this reason. Ingress and egress and water line. You can pave it, you can do what you want to, as long as we still got a capability to get in and out there. And
I realize we may not have to deal with this board, or anybody said, but I hate to leave something for the board 15 years down the road. Just gotta sit up here and try to get something over the water tower.
well, I think if you allow this to be built, we might as well relinquish the easement because we'll never be able to use it.
Right.
And that's fine if that's what the board wants to do.
Well, I feel the same way. If we're gonna allow this building to go up, might as well give it up, forget about it. And if we're not, just send them notices, you're not, that's it, we're not gonna, that's where it is, and that's our land. If you build in it, it's your problem, we'll tear it up, we need to get it.
I mean, that is the option, to maintain the easement, let them build whatever they want to, and just tell them again that we may have to tear it
And
down.
have it written in bronze, most of the wall down the stairs.
Oh, yeah.
We do that.
Although I don't see us ever do it. I think that's what they
Yeah,
think.
they think too.
Once they get it built, they realize the city's not gonna go in there and tell them to tear it up, so. Or us,
It might be dealing with a different board next time.
exactly. Of course, this property could change hands 10 times before you actually ever need the easement.
Right.
I wouldn't mind, one option is to let them put it on and keep the easement. But if we did that, I certainly would not want the main electrical underground there. That would, I mean, yeah, that way if we wanted to bore or do something,
You know they're gonna run a lot of ground like they're
the Jackson, the new long-term silver south side, the same way.
We're seeing more, and I don't know why they're doing it, but there may be a reason, but most of you drive-throughs you're seeing now, that's all that goes all the way around the building.
Well, there's a logistics reason that they do this, make it deeper to stage more vehicles in the drive-through lane.
Well,
That's true.
Further you move it out, the less people.
Right. I'll say that.
I just thought this was a big enough issue, we didn't need to put it on Brent to make that final decision.
I don't think we need to either. I think it's not his call. I think we need to make a decision one way or the other.
We've been trying to tell everybody that will listen that there is an easement there.
If they took that porch off the front of the Brent, you got perhaps the ruler that'll tell us, is that gonna shift the building forward enough to get most of that out of the easement back there?
15 feet.
Yeah, you got,
10,
15,
15 feet.
then you got the borders.
That would definitely help with the drive-through area, the relocation of the dumpster and the waste area. You'd have to locate it somewhere.
The drive across in the front's gonna narrow down something, and they're gonna have traffic, because there's still two lanes going from the front,
Yeah.
going both ways.
And if it comes forward,
If you come out too far,
It's
you're
real
gonna,
tight.
it's gonna be tight.
That plus, they may have to relocate the handicap
Yeah.
further north there because you lose one space there or maybe
You
not. If
move
they
that
pull the building forward, that could probably still leave it.
I think they're designed to use every bit of that lot that you can in a good manner. They just didn't realize, well, they did realize too, that there's an easement back, think about it.
How they on their parking, are they meeting the minimums on their parking?
They exceed the minimum on the parties.
That's where if they relocate the dumpster pad, they lose a parking, couple of parking places.
Well, I was just thinking here that if they go ahead and build it as is here, we still retain the easement. And just say, if we gotta go through there, we gotta go through there. And just put it on their back if we're going let them think, well, if they are ever gonna have to go through there, we're gonna have to fix it. So if they wanna move the building forward, if they wanna do something else with it, that'll be their call. But the easement will still be ours regardless of what you put back there. And if we have to go through there with something, so be it.
We would probably come through their parking lot and have to tear down the garbage thing to turn to get to the tower. Might not have to come across the drive through the back, come in the driveway and turn if you can. I don't know. Those big old cranes, I don't know whether they can turn or not.
I'm gonna make a motion, we retain the easement, posterity, what comes, and what don't. That's it. I'm gonna make a motion, we maintain the easement for posterity, whatever happens, happens. If we need to use it, we can, if we don't, we don't. If it's ours, at least it'll be noted on the deeds.
and if we use it, they have to fix it.
It's negligent if we use it.
Yeah, they're repairs,
Oh, yeah, it's negligent, we've got an easement. And then if we go through and tear it all to pieces, they have to fix it, we don't. And I don't care if they're bored, never use it, don't figure they won't ever use it, don't do it. Whatever happens, happens, and that's it, it's our easement. They do it when they build, we told them on the deed, it's been there, and I don't see messing with it. That's just where I feel about
Do
it.
we need to stipulate in that though, that if that's where they're planning on putting that high voltage transformer, that it be moved out of that easement?
Yeah, we can do that.
I think what you need to do is say you're approving the site plan for the facilities you see on this site plan. No other underground, utilities are to be placed in that easement.
That sounds good to me. Well,
Including electrical transformers, underground, I know they're gonna have underground 110s or whatever under these signs, but other than
No
that,
high voltage needs to be in that easement.
they're going to put their current transformers somewhere
us what we're gonna do.
I'm gonna have to think about it.
That's all right. No, you're good.
No, I get it, I get it.
And we're just saying,
Basically,
we're gonna leave the easement there.
we're approving this site plan containing the things that are in this site plan, including the garbage dumpster area, the drive-through, the related signage for the drive-through, and there should be no underground utilities in that easement other than those going to those signs shown on this site plan.
Right.
Otherwise, nothing is to be put else in the easement beside what's shown here.
I have a motion by Alderman Ferris and a second by Alderman Barber. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by aye. All opposed signify by no. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, consider bidding and purchasing of the utility vehicle for the park department. If y'all remembered a few months ago, your police chief was so nice to donate his seized vehicles he's got on the auction to the parks department to purchase a utility vehicle, a work vehicle for her. And I'll let Jim kind of told you, we kind of looked and trying to figure out how we could bid apples to apples. And so I'll let Jim go, but he's been working with it the last few days.
I've been working on a set of bid specs, and because these vehicles from brand to brand are somewhat unique, myself and Mayor did, on our way back from the meeting, stopped by the Polaris Honda dealer in Jackson and also the John Deere dealer with the Gators. We know sort of what we think is the best one for us, but because you gotta bid this type of thing, I'm trying to come up with a bid spec that multiple people can build multiple brands of type units too. Price ranging is somewhere in the ballpark of $10,000 to $13,000. This is not gonna be a cheap basement unit, but it's something that I think will last us several years and be the best piece of equipment. I think that's really where we need to be. The total car value that we sold was between $12,000 and $13,000. So, pretty much I think what Tommy has donated to the cost will pay for the cost of this piece of equipment. So I'm gonna try to get the bid specs finished up and get those out to 4 or 5 dealers and see what we get back. And two choices are to give, I don't know, by the time we get the bid specs out and back, we're almost gonna be at the next meeting. So you will wait for the next meeting to present those back, or give the mayor authority to select the best bid, that's what it goes.
I'll make a motion to approve the bid and give the mayor the opportunity to choose the best bid.
Because I think that on the opportunity of the best bidder, we've talked about, especially on something on the bed, the dump bed, and some things like that we're gonna need, since it's gonna be a work vehicle, that some might not be able to meet that. I think we're talking about even some doing an addendum zone of how much would the electric bed cost, and I think a couple of them,
Some of them have electric dump options, some of them don't.
we're gonna bid that out
We're gonna bid
separate.
that as a add-on.
Add on to see how that costs, and see how it goes, because
Right.
of the,
So we're trying to keep it where, we're not rolling down just one brand, but we're trying to make it where you can tell the difference between the units when we actually get a bid in. And we did specify in the bid specifications that we will select the best bid, that may not necessarily be the lowest piece of equipment.
That's why I just said the best bid.
The best bid.
have a motion by Alderman Ferris, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Any further discussion on it?
I'm assuming we're thinking we still, whatever bid is still gonna be under the amount of the cash that the chief was nice enough to transfer.
Yes.
We hope.
Yeah, we will definitely notify if there's anything changed, but from listening to the ballpark figures we got on some, I think we can stay between 12 and 13,000. All right, any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed signify by no. Motion carries. Okay, consider approving the replacements of the 2 HVAC units on City Hall. Jim, you can kind of tell them what happened to it.
We had one of the units downstairs that basically serves the conference room downstairs, what we call the blue conference room. Wasn't working one day. We walked in there and it was about, I don't know, it was 50 degrees in there. It wasn't working. So we called him out before he meeting there. He went up on the roof. He says the motors froze up, and we also had the burner that was totally trashed. So he said repairs are going to be pushing $3,500 to repair the unit. So we asked him what a new one would cost, and he gave us a price tag of about $6,100. crane here, it's gonna cost about $1,200 to get the crane here. We went ahead and got a price to replace that unit also. So we've ended up with a price tag of almost $13,000 to replace these two units. Of course, we knew they were gonna start dying, so this is not really unexpected. We have some of that money in the budget, but not all. But I think we got enough right now on the line item to cover this expense, but we probably want to have some more money before the end of the year. But, you know, we did tell Mike to go ahead and get the units ordered. They haven't been installed yet, they're supposed to be in any day. So we need approval to go ahead and get those on the roof. So those marks are still heating right now, the other one's not heating at all, so it's turned off right now. Marks are full off of it, so we're just running fans to try to keep enough air in there to keep people from getting cold.
This is something we have to do to keep the building function for, and this is used a lot by a lot of people, so I make the motion that we go ahead and give approval to spend this to replace the two units.
Second.
Have a motion? Have a second? Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by aye. Opposed, signify by no. Next item on the agenda, discuss purchase of new fire truck. This is, I'm not asking for anything tonight, but what we found out, if y'all remember, last year's budget, we approved about $100,000 to put it into a rollover to try to get our fire truck bought in a couple of years. I came across, the guy that I work with at TWAA is the vice president of Region Bank. He contacted us on municipal loans they got on vehicle equipment. When we first started talking about cars, which I told them we took care of, we did our own car. We had enough in our budgets over the years to buy our own car. And then I asked him about fire trucks. How do y'all do it on fire trucks? And how they have it is 2% money on 4 years. You can do it 2% money on 4 years. We have done lease purchases, but this was more cost effective than a lease purchase. And I told him I'd get back with him, and we talked about it. And to finalize the loan, he would have to have a purchase order and contract from the fire company. The fire company we purchased the truck that they built it. So that's something y'all need to, just let you throw that out to y'all, because I think we were talking about next year doing that. What this could do is stretch us out 4 years on this. With everything going on, this could stretch us out 4 years instead of 2 years. That would help us on our budget. And Chief can tell you, if he ordered one today, how long before you can even see it?
Each manufacturer has different wait times as far as if you put the order today, it might be 6 months, 4 months, 3 months. But we won't know that until we put it out to bid and get the bid back. That will tell us what a delivery is.
And I kind of what I've asked Chief to do, start getting this bid together to what specs and stuff to do to see where we're gonna go. But I think if you remember, we were looking in the range of about $250,000. What a fire truck's gonna look like. This fire truck replaces a 1977 fire truck. So this is kind of where we're at on that. Don't let y'all think about that. We'll try to bring you some more information back next meeting. I wouldn't say they won't bring us on cold turkey, but I won't let y'all just throw it out and let y'all think about it. But I think like we were planning on this year trying to, when we sit down budget time, we're gonna try to do another $100,000 to go ahead and order the fire truck. But I think this way we might be, this is an option, we could put it off before, we could put this a 4-year no, 50%. So I'll let you know, that's what make sure I brought that to
Seems
you.
like a good deal to me, but we just look at it, sounds all right.
2% money is not necessarily gonna be there that long, is it?
I talked to Ray, it's Ray Washington, who's the vice president at the Region Bank. And I talked to Ray about it. He left an impression that, we're talking about a few months. I told him this would be a couple of months before we could really do something on it. And because I said, when we order a truck, because what my fear was, like you were talking about the money not being there, we turn around and order a truck, we wouldn't really need it, the truck came in. But I think Jim was telling me that if you order one of these, there's a certain percentage that you have to put up front and put the order.
It depends on the company. I've seen as much as 25 to 50% of the cost up front. It just depends on the company.
And
Also, the build time varies greatly from company. I think we built one time, it took almost a year to get it.
Can we not just go ahead and start payments on it?
Well, he says what he has to have, but what he has to have would be a invoice from the
Probably by order. It's like-
order from the
I've been told there is a deal, and I don't know how this will work financing it, but if you pay the whole
interest on it's gonna be about $10,000, cover the
So
interest.
that, yeah.
But, we met with one manufacturer in December, we met with one today, I'm meeting with another Monday, and we're hoping to get a fourth one, that's just helping us try to put up a spec sheet together. We know basically what we want, we're trying to find out if we're missing something that could be as common as a charging system or something.
Well, I mean, throw this out, I mean, we still have to do this, we don't have to bid. Does the board have a problem, if we put the bids together and go out to bid and just see where we're at? We don't, do we have a problem? Does anybody see any problem if we do that? Jim?
Because this is a different type of loan process that we've gone through before, I need to contact the Department of Local Finance and State to make sure we don't jump through some hoops or pass certain resolutions. We do need certain types of monies, we do have to pass certain resolutions, et cetera. And if y'all will do, we'll go ahead and start bid specs and start that process too, to try to go ahead and.
Now, the thing, Selmer has just purchased on this plan, and they put theirs on 7 years, I don't think we need to do that, I think 4 years will cover ours to do what, because we were gonna do ours too. On this, we plan on doing it anyway on the last budget, but I just, when he was talking about this, I just saw an opportunity maybe to spread this out 4 years to help us a little bit, capital outlay.
Do we some extra cash where we don't have to borrow money for other things at a higher interest rate?
Do we need to make a motion rather than go ahead and go to bid?
It wouldn't hurt to have that.
I'll make a motion that we allow the fire department to go ahead and get your bid specs together and go to bid and get those back to us as soon as possible.
I have a motion to go to bid, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any further discussion on the motion?
I would assume that as part of the specs, we go with the demo. It might speed up.
And we've talked about that, we're just now waiting into the different manufacturers, and as we deal with each one, we'll find out what they got on the lot. I mean, I've had them tell me that they got 3 on the lot in Florida right now, but they've got to meet our specs, or be something we can live with, so, yeah, we're happy to look at that. What we're looking at is what's known as a commercial chassis. It's not a parade pumper, it doesn't have all the chrome and whistles, it's gonna be nice, it's gonna be functional, but it's gonna be a basic burger.
And something that can last
Yes, I mean,
for many years.
well, this was lasted
Yeah,
almost,
exactly.
all we're putting down is almost lasted 40 years.
Yeah. Well, let's.
One thing that we're gonna cut our price down is we have new hose to transfer over on this pumper, so we're not having to buy hoses. We may have to buy a little bit of equipment, but that'll be all part of the spec sheet.
Have a motion, is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, signify by no. Motion carries.
Thank you.
See, remember what I asked?
I do have one question, Jim. When we get the spec sheets and put this out for bid and advertise and all that, is there a minimum or maximum time you wait to get bids back?
Normally you need at least 2 weeks from advertising, right? But other than that, you can make it as long as you need to, you let everybody.
Yeah, I don't know what the industry, we'll find out what the industry standard is, but I'm figuring it's gonna take us, I think we'll probably be back here in February and in March here before we even get to the bid process, but we're gonna work on it every day till we get it.
Just remember. 250.
I'd like to spend the whole 250, that's not about that.
Well, let's really be under 250.
We're gonna buy the best we can for the money.
Kinda like come back to board every once in a while.
With
Be-
less.
It'd be under.
That's why I was thinking the demo, that might.
Yeah, like I said, we're gonna buy whatever best for the city.
Okay, next item on the agenda, a reminder to the elected officials about the Elected Officials Academy. Jim?
The Elected Officials Academy is gonna be here at City Hall on Friday the 27th and Saturday the 28th of this month. Everybody's registered, except I think Mike, you've already been through it. You may have work conflict, but all the other 5 of you are registered to be here. I don't know how many other people from other locations will be here, but, meeting starts, I believe, at 4 p.m. on Friday. Looks like 4 to 13, 8, 9, 10, I don't know exactly how late. On Friday night, it starts back 8 o'clock Saturday morning, goes to about 2:30 on Saturday afternoon. Supper and lunch will be provided.
I don't think he was really thought that.
That's all I got.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Too good of an opening. Mary?
No, sir.
Since we're lucky before we go down the board, we have another person here, Steve, that wants to address the board, Dina, our park. If y'all notice a lot of nice things at park, benches, and the venue benches been placed and everything else, and,
Yes, we've been
I-
very blessed with the community giving very much. I'd like to get a picture down there and thank everyone personally, through the paper and everything, to let our community know how proud we are that they give and support the park. And I would like to tell Tommy thank you, and I have to thank police officers.
But one thing about the park, no matter how cold it is, whatever, you go down there, somebody walking. I drove through there, I drove through there today, and there was 4 people out there walking, had their overcoats and hoodies and all on. They were getting it around that park.
We have very faithful people. Look at much
So
there.
it's being used more than it's ever been, and I'm glad of that.
And we're having more things going on through the year. People wanting to use the park for this and that.
I believe the park board plans a function, concert down there this May.
May 2nd, we're having the car show for Relay Drive. And then in June, we're having a band down there. And we're going to try to raise some money for the park.
Good job.
Thank you.
Michael?
I just commend the chief and the police department for doing it today, and she has done an excellent job down there. It's just beautiful, and we're just blessed to have you as part of our group. I appreciate the chief and the other department heads for giving to the school, because that's a big thing for the students, and they won't forget that today from coming up here. And I'm very proud to be a part of this event. This is a great place to be and a great place to work.
I hate following behind you. Because you said it all. But I do want to thank all of our department heads and all the employees of the city of Henderson. Y'all do a wonderful job and make us proud. And thank you for working so well with each of us on this board.
Yes, I would agree with both Mark and Michael and that. It's nice to
disagree with us.
But it's nice to come up here and we don't have to deal with a lot of problems. Y'all keep everything running good, and that helps a lot. One thing that I'd like to add is, I assume, Jim, there'll be a letter or something about a motion on the easement, that all the parties that are involved get a formal letter, TLM, the owners, et cetera.
One to everybody we can find, plus we'll also attach one to the building department when he goes out.
Okay, that's one thing.
I know a lawyer.
Also, I noticed that on the fire calls, we had about 4 different situations, multiple false calls to the same location. I'm assuming we're billing the people for we're billing them for the second false call. I know y'all hate to run, especially when you start out and you almost know when you leave it's false, but you've got to go under the assumption it isn't.
So far, everybody sends us a check within a week, once we do them. They've been really good about it. Thank you.
That's all I have.
I echo what everybody else has already said. I want to say thanks to all of you. I appreciate you all.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I do too.
Thanks, sir.
You gotta say something, everybody else says.
Okay, at this time, I entertain a motion to adjourn downstairs to the conference room for the executive session by our city attorney.